Now, originally, the title of this video was going to be Hereditary and the Ladder of Loss, and the idea of the video was I would analyse and explore what each character in the film lost and gained. And I think it's pretty obvious when you think about it that obviously this film is all about loss. It literally starts off with a funeral. But before I started writing the script, I watched a YouTube video which made a point about Hereditary, which I think ties in quite nicely with my initial video idea. So today's video will be exploring everything each character lost in Hereditary, but it will also showcase that this family had absolutely no control in anything that happened to them, and that their whole lives were dictated by the followers of King Paimon. And obviously, before we start the video, massive spoilers for Hereditary. I'm going to talk about literally everything that happens in the film. So if you haven't seen it and you really want to watch this video, go watch it, come back, bosh.
Naked grandma!
Naked, huh?
Now we begin before the film even takes place, because at some point in her life, Ellen, who is Annie's mother, the grandmother who has the funeral at the start of the film, she had to have dedicated her life to summoning King Paimon, who is some sort of demon prince, and she wants to summon him into the real world, of course. Now, as far as I've researched, we don't really know when like this conversion, I guess, happened in Ellen's life. We also don't really know if Annie's father was a part of the cult or not. I don't think we don't really learn anything about her father in this film, but Ellen has now dedicated her life to King Paimon, and she really was like the master conductor in the family's life in this film, despite the fact that the film begins with her death. So we sort of have to go over a few details before the actual events of the film. One of those being that before the film happens, we find out during the film that Annie's brother killed himself because Ellen was trying to put people inside of him. That is Annie's words, and I guess the brother's words. Now, during the moment we hear this in the film, and we sort of put it down to maybe Annie's brother being mentally ill, maybe schizophrenic, something like that. That's sort of what the audience and the actual characters in the film put it down to. But obviously, with all the context laid out, we sort of realise that this is actually the first instance of Ellen, our Satanist grandmother, trying to summon Paimon through a male host in her bloodline, which is the preferred way of a Paimon being summoned. He really wants a male body who is related to Ellen. I think Ellen, she's important for some reason. So with this information, we have 2 points to be made. The first being that obviously Ellen had children solely for the purpose of summoning Paimon, not for the joy of raising a child, surprisingly. And then the second point being that we know that during the film we find out that Annie and her mother had a very estranged relationship. They weren't very close, and now that is seemingly due to Annie not have been born a boy. And even in the beginning of the film, during the funeral, we hear Charlie, who is Ellen's granddaughter, Annie's daughter, say that she knew that her grandmother wanted her to be a boy. Now we get on to Ellen herself. So, you're Ellen, you're a demon cultist, and you've just had a baby, so you can put your devil king into the baby to possess it and eventually take over the world. Little problem, however, your firstborn is a girl, and unfortunately Paimon, he's not having any of it. He's fucking fuming. He will not be made to be born into a girl, alright? He needs a male, and you're Ellen, right? You've sort of got to like sit him down. You've got to sit King Paimon, the devil prince, down. Or devil king, I don't fucking know. You've got to sit him down, right? Put him on the naughty step, like, mate, listen, calm your fucking self down, alright? I'll have another kid. It'll be a boy. No problem, alright? Easy. So, Ellen gets to shagging. So, Ellen gets to it. Next baby comes out. Boom. Penis. Smashed it. However, you can't possess a baby like right off the bat, especially at this point in his life. Paimon, he's got morals for now. So you wait a bit until the son's older, and boom, we now start the possess. Fuck. You see, Ellen, she didn't really factor in the idea that trying to shove the soul of a demon into a human body is probably quite taxing on the old mental health side of things. And before you know it, the son's hanging like a candy cane to the Christmas tree. Fucking hell. Why did I write it like that? That's so fucking harsh. Anyway, Ellen, proper pickle right now. Her son has just offed himself, and your daughter hates you because you quite clearly had a favourite. Before we go on, apologise if you hear like some hitting in the background. One of my neighbours clearly doesn't know who he's living next to, clearly doesn't realise that one of his neighbours is a fucking YouTube megastar with nearly 100 subscribers. Shocking. Absolutely fucking shocking. So again, you're Ellen, you've got a dead son, and your daughter and your relationship is not on the best terms. However, she has just had her firstborn, a son. Ellen's back in business, baby. Wait, what? What do you mean I can't see my grandson? I did not make your brother kill himself. So Ellen kind of has to just play nice for a bit, get on Annie's good side, and she does. Annie even lets her into the life of her next born child, and this is where Ellen started fucking cooking. She calls Paimon, right, and she's like, listen, you fucking little picky twat, I've got a granddaughter on the way, take it or leave it. And Paymon's fucking tired, man. He just wants to get in the world and start fucking shit up. So he takes it. And from birth, bro, Ellen ain't fucking about no more. She possesses Charlie Day fucking out the womb. Paymon's like, bosh, that. I meant like he possessed her. He doesn't shag the baby. However, somehow, after all the shit she's just done, the next thing Ellen does is the part where I think she maybe took it a little bit too far. Ellen decides to be really fucking overprotective of Charlie and, wait for it, she breastfeeds her herself. Yeah, Ellen, the grandmother, starts breastfeeding her granddaughter. So I think at that point, Annie's thinking, especially Annie and her fucking husband, he's thinking, what the fuck have I married into? Actually, you know what? I didn't write this in the script. How the fuck has Charlie's dad, Steve, or is it Stephen? One of the two, doesn't really matter. How has he allowed this to happen? How has he seen his mother-in-law try to breastfeed his daughter and be like, listen, you do what you want. And it's clear that Paimon possessed Charlie from birth, as she is quite an odd child. It's no like secret in the film. The film lets you know that she's an outcast. She's a bit of a weird child. But I think it is quite obvious that like, it's because, you know, a fucking demon's inside of her. She's been possessed by the devil. Or one of them. And there we have it. Ellen's job is done. But unfortunately, being a demon's right-hand man is quite draining. And poor old Ellen pops her clogs before she can see her king take over the world. But at least she knows the hard part is over. Oh wait, no, we've got the actual events of the film now. Right, so we finally, after fucking, I don't know, could be 5, could be 10 minutes, we reached the part of the video where we actually get to talk about the film. So here we go. Ellen has passed away after a long life of driving her own son to suicide and breastfeeding her granddaughter. And as I said in the beginning of the video, the film starts off with our family dealing with loss. Annie loses her mother, Steve loses his mother-in-law, and both Charlie and Peter lose their grandmother. And obviously this hits Annie the hardest with it being her own mother despite their weird, estranged relationship. But actually, we don't have any more loss in the film. For quite a while, we sort of just follow the family around. They're all having a bit of a shit time in life. You know, grandmother just died. They're all just a bit sad. They're all just fucking sad and depressed. Until one night, Peter's going to a house party and Annie forces Peter to take Charlie with him to the house party for some reason. Honestly, this is a common Annie L. Alright, she has fucked it up the wall. Because in this house party, Charlie is left alone. She eats some cake, and unfortunately, this cake has nuts in it, and Charlie is deathly allergic to nuts. And another Annie L. The reason why it's a common Annie L. She doesn't give Charlie her EpiPen. Why does she not have an EpiPen with her at all fucking times if she's this allergic to nuts? And this is where we get to witness what is undoubtedly the most shocking part of the film. Peter is driving Charlie to hospital and she shoves her head out the window, gasping for air as her throat's closing up. Obviously, allergic reaction, very common symptom of it. And along comes a lamppost. Charlie's head is taken clean off of her body. Peter, in shock, drives home, leaves the car, and goes inside the house, has a nap. Next morning, however, Annie gets into that same car, assumedly to go to work. And obviously, we don't see this part. It's sort of like a long shot, but I assume Annie turns her head around to see her daughter there with no head, and then she lets out a guttural scream. Annie and Stephen lose their daughter, and Peter loses his sister. Now that we've talked about the loss, but a crucial detail is that on the way to the party, we drive past this lamppost that killed Charlie, and there is a sigil inscribed into it, and I think we later learned that this is the sigil of King Paimon himself. So clearly Charlie was marked for death. But obviously Charlie had Paimon inside of her, possessing her. So I think maybe they realized that he can't take over the world if he's in this girl's body. He needs to be in a male body that's related to Ellen. That's it, yeah. And this is the first sign in the film that the cultists they were behind literally everything, and the family never had their own free will at any point throughout the film. In my head, Annie, Peter, and Charlie never had any free will at any point in their life. The only person who did was Steve, because obviously he married into this family, which we would find out is a fucking massive mistake from the bloke. He should have just told Annie, listen, your family's weird, I'm leaving you, fuck off. My only problem is that obviously in real life the plan of like getting Charlie to hit her head with the sigil and all that shit, it relies a lot on coincidence. What if Charlie never ate the cake? What if she didn't put her head out of the window at that time? And I of course can understand why some people will be put off by the amount of chance being so crucial to the plot. However, I think I can explain to an extent like the reasoning for how this could happen. So as we know, Charlie was possessed from birth, and I think it's fair to say that if you are a demon king inside a child's body, you could probably influence their decisions quite a bit. Therefore, I believe that Paimon himself sort of pushed Charlie to do the acts that eventually led her to death. And if that isn't enough explanation for you, check this out. If this didn't happen, there is no film. Fictional story made up by someone, so any amount of chance or luck is fair enough. It's a fucking film. But anyway, we have our second loss of the film and our first instance of cult string pulling. However, Paimon's got no host now. He's just floating about in the ether. Did my fucking bell just ring? Oh god. Fucking shat myself. That's him leaving. I hear the doorbell go, so I go to answer it. But before I can even get a chance to get there, some bloke opens my door and says, "Oh, fucking hell, alright, mate, listen, take whatever you want." But no, he had to look at our fire extinguishers, so thought I was going to get stabbed. Turns out I just am more safe against fires now, so that's a plus. Anyway, what was I just saying? Oh yeah, fucking Paimon, he's floated about in the ether, or whatever I said. And we know that people can fight back against his possession. Look at Annie's brother. I mean, of course, you know, his course of defense was to kill himself. But listen, did he get possessed? No. So that's a win. But still, Paimon, he's in the marketplace for a new body. And guess who just so happens to be in the required bloodline, be a male, and has just lost his nan and his sister, therefore leaving him in a very vulnerable state. That's right. Fucking Peter. It's Peter's time to shine. However, we still have his parents to deal with, so let's get on with it. In the film, we see Annie slowly but surely be turned into a ghost-talking maniac by one of the cultists who poses as a grandmother, who lost her grandson and can talk to him from the beyond. And to be fair to the lady, she fucking could talk to him from the beyond. She's not capping. She was talking straight facts. She had him doing some chalk shit from beyond the grave. That's just a little spooky. Anyway, whether the grandson died due to natural causes or because Paimon fancied his chances of possessing him despite him not being in the bloodline, don't really know. Sort of leave that up to interpretation. However, Annie becomes obsessed with trying to talk to Charlie from the beyond. And fuck her mom, she's trying to talk to her daughter, do you know what I mean? And during her mental decline, we get two very important scenes. One scene being what is probably the most famous scene in the film, the dinner table scene where Toni Collette gives one of, if not the best performance in her career, and one of the best performances I've ever seen in just a film. It's fucking incredible. The devastating argument between Annie and Peter, in some sense, involves loss, I think. In some way, they lose each other, or at least they lose whatever remaining relationship they had, as Annie is fucking batshit insane now, and Peter's a bit of a dickhead to his mum, but clearly still blames himself for Charlie's death. But now, what about Steve? My boy Steve hasn't really been talked about much. Well, he's been the backbone of this family. He's just trying to do his best given the horrible situation he's been in. I mean, he lost his daughter and his mother-in-law. His fucking wife's insane. His son is just he's just so fucking sad. However, to give context to what happens to Steve, in one scene not involving him, we see Annie try and burn what is basically it's a book. It's like the instruction manual for talking to dead people. At one point, she has a bit of clarity and tries to burn it, and then she puts it in the fire, and then her clothes just set alight from seemingly out of nowhere. So clearly, the book is like, listen here, you fucking bitch. Take me out of that fire or you're dead. So she takes it out and carries on being fucking mental. However, later on, during an argument, Steve tosses the book into the fire and we see Steve completely engulfed in flames as he is burnt to a crisp. And this is like the golden moment, the golden opportunity for Paimon to strike. As Annie watches her husband burn to death, Paimon possesses her, completely takes control. Peter loses his dad. Obviously, at this point, he doesn't know it. Peter loses his dad, and Annie loses her husband, and also herself, as she is completely possessed by Paimon at this point. And this is where we reach the climax of the film. Peter, he just got his shit fucked up in school. I think Paimon was messing with him in school. He like fucking smashed himself on the like the school desk, and he's home recovering. And he probably heard all the ruckus, comes downstairs, see his dad looking like a fucking Dorito that was left in the oven for too long. I don't fucking know. And his mother is nowhere to be seen except she's actually on the fucking ceiling. And this was the point where I realised why. The whole like marketing of this film was that it's the scariest film ever made. And fucking fair enough, because if the whole film was as scary as these last 10-15 minutes or so, then it would be up there for sure. So Peter, he's getting chased around the gaff by his mum. She's fucking going sicko mode with Paimon powers all up in her. And Peter, he finds himself in the attic, and Peter turns around to witness Annie floating in the attic, cutting her own head off. And finally, as Annie's floating body guides him, Peter makes his way towards the treehouse, where we find the followers of Paimon along with the bodies of our dead family all bowing before Peter as they hail Paimon. And we end the film with a broken Peter standing there, signalling that it is Peter no more and only King Paimon. And the entire lives of this whole family were painted and controlled by a higher power. Sort of like Annie's mini family dollhouse.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Hello everyone, this is the end of the actual video essay part. Is over now. This is the end of it. I hope you all enjoyed this video and how I sort of did my best to explain how this film is all about loss and how the family were strung up like puppets before they were even born. So I'm hoping you now know why the video is called Family Ties. It just also helps that it's like a Baby Keem song, and I like naming all my short films after song names, so I just thought like, fuck it, it makes sense, and I just like the name of it. Now before I wrote this video, I actually wrote a whole fucking script for a different video that was based off one of my uni essays. It was about like emotion in film, it doesn't matter anymore. But after reading the script, fuck me, it was dog shit, or so was the essay. Honestly, I realised I got like a fucking 48 out of 100 for that essay, which is like a pass, but I realised why I was given a fucking 48. Gee, I fucking hate doing essays, man. Just let me make films, fuck off. So I binned off that video in favour of writing. I didn't convert an essay into a script for this one, I just wrote the script myself, and it was about Hereditary, my favourite horror film of all time. I don't know if you count Get Out as a horror film, but even then, I do think I actually like Hereditary more than Get Out, but also in my head, they are two different types of films. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video as much as I loved making it. I will see you in the future with more videos soon, hopefully. I've got to brainstorm a few more ideas, get into the creative mindset, and hopefully being back in uni will help me with that. And I'll just be, the next year, I'm just like, I'm fucking writing essays, which shit, but I'm writing video essays, which I enjoy, and I'm hopefully actually making more short films, which are good and not dog shit. But with that, hope you enjoyed the video. I love you. I'm leaving you. Goodbye.